ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ
So you can start today, sir. Welcome
Fantastic.
to the day of our workshop. Antony, sir, you can continue.
Hello, students. How are you? Hello, students. How are you all? Yesterday there were some good responses.
Fine, sir. How are you, sir?
Today also we had the energy, or the energy has come down. So first of all, before commencing, I want to get some good time feedbacks from you guys. How was yesterday's session and how good you liked it? And any questions on yesterday's session? So can we spend some 5 to 10 minutes on that? So yesterday I wanted to allot some special time, so I wasn't able to do it. So you folks can ask the questions on yesterday's session. Any questions on yesterday's session, especially on the skill sets which we saw yesterday?
Somebody can actually summarize what has happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Any questions or your feedback on yesterday's session? Probably someone who spoke yesterday can do it. See, I want this to be much interactive, because if you folks are not presenting your views, we wouldn't be getting a wonderful output. Anyone who was left over yesterday, was not able to raise the question, anyone who was missed out, was not able to raise the concern or raise what was in the mind, anything, you can go ahead. So I'm giving some more 2 minutes of time.
Aman, Saundarya, Ananya, there were so many people yesterday. At least make some points of yesterday so that if somebody was absent yesterday, they can follow it from today. The intention of this workshop is to make you people interact and participate. Otherwise, the whole purpose of this workshop will be a waste.
So no questions, right?
They know everything.
Okay, so I wanted to give this time especially for your questions, if any, on yesterday's session, because I don't want to miss out anyone. No one should be missed out, right? Without raising a query, if something was there in your mind, because a lot of people raised your hands yesterday. So that's the reason, especially, I wanted to give this time, and ask if there are any questions from you guys. Okay. So again, I'm giving a minute or half a minute if there are any questions from you guys, anything which has been left out from any one of you in this forum. If there's nothing, I'm going ahead with today's presentation. Yeah. So you folks can put in any of your queries, okay, while we complete a topic, okay, while we complete the presentation. So I'll give the question answers session again. Okay, so folks, now today it is, I guess, let's summarize what we learned yesterday. So it was mainly on listening, right? The listening and speaking skills. So why is listening and speaking skills very essential? That's what we discussed mainly, right? And a lot of people even raised some questions, some wonderful questions that, sir, if I'm having some issues, how I need to present myself, and if my pitch is not good, how I need to present myself. So there were a lot of wonderful and fabulous questions, right? And even I learned a lot from you guys, when you raised the question. So that's the power of interaction. So when we interact and when we discuss, okay, and when we sit and discuss in a group, that's the power of interaction, wherein we get in a lot of value-added thoughts, and also we get into the next level of, enhancing your communicational skills. And it is not a process wherein it stops on day one or you start to learn, but it is a process wherein it continuously moves and moves and moves. Okay. So that is how the process is. Okay. So today what we're going to look at is especially on reading and writing. So how many of you folks think reading and writing, enhancing your skills, doing it often? Okay. So reading often and writing often, it makes a lot of value additions to one's communication. How many of you think it gives a lot of value? It gives a lot of uh, spark in your career, and it creates that especially that value addition in your career. So how many of you think, and are there any points or any opinion from any one of you on reading and writing, or are there any issues which you face, or are there any comments which you want to present, especially when it comes to reading and writing, and how you can develop your skills? So does anyone have any questions? Folks who are raising hands, you can also talk. And especially, I want the other folks to talk. So whoever never had a chance, never had an opportunity yesterday to talk, because I always believe that everyone in the group, when we have a session, should talk out and should, get engaged with the session, because that's a successful session, right? So even when you folks give a session, keep that in mind. When you give a session, every one of the audience need to be engaged with you. That is where you are a truly successful speaker and truly successful communication model, we can say. So any questions we have? Else I'm going into the presentation. Yeah, so here the presentation starts. Read, write. Okay. Reading is the finest teacher of how to write. Okay. So what happens when you read? And why is it so essential? Because you learn the grammar, you learn what is it in the essential points of reading, and what is it you learn newly. So you learn a lot of new words, right? And you learn a lot of new sentences for that matter, right? And how to frame a sentence, how to finish a paragraph, how to finish how to finish a story. So all these wonderful things you learn, and you essentially get that magic of how you can get ready, and also you can learn a lot of things. You can grasp a lot of things from your reading and writing skills, especially. You might be not aware whether it's happening, but it happens when you do it, when you continuously do it, when you do it the proper way, and uh, the right way. Automatically things happen, the magic happens, you get groomed and groomed and groomed. Okay. So now, out of reading and writing, right? So good writing begins with good reading. Can someone read it out for me? Someone who did the volunteering yesterday, someone, Ananya or someone, can you read it out for me?
Can I, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead. Please introduce your name. Please go ahead.
Myself, Annapurna.
Yeah.
Good writing begins with good reading. Every time you read, you are exposed to someone else's idea and to their way of writing, their words, choice, vocabulary, knowledge base,
Vocabulary. Yeah.
use of language, and so forth.
Yeah.
Should I continue it, sir?
Yeah, I'll just finish this, Annapurna. So, see, folks, this is, you understand the way of writing, and especially you learn the grammatical values and the values of forming a sentence and everything. Okay, so you learn a lot of things while you read, especially. Okay, and when you do that, like fullest focus, you learn a lot of things. Okay, you learn a lot of things on your communication part. Yeah, you can go ahead, Annapurna.
Underlying this is the more general theme of learning and development to develop your thoughts, to incorporate new ideas into your existing understanding, to see things from different angles or viewpoints, to develop your knowledge and understanding, and ultimately yourself.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Learning, therefore, comes about not from reading and remembering details, but from developing your understanding of the meaning of the details, to engage with your ideas, opinion, and rethink them in a positive and constructive way.
Yeah. Yeah. So, folks, what do we learn? So, while we are reading and while we are presenting, any of the content, or we are going through a content, so we learn a lot of things from there, and especially when you want to become a public speaker. So yesterday, more people were engaged, and they were very keen on becoming a public speaker, right? So they were passionate about developing the public speaking skills. So when it comes to public speaking skills, your reading is very, very essential. So you need to read day in and day out. You need to read a lot of content. I'm not saying that you sit down you spend some time every minute and you read. I'm not saying that, but you need to spend some of your valuable time, and you need to start to read, and you need to start to read on a continuous manner. Okay. So only when you do that, only especially when you do that, that is going to help you out a lot, and that is going to give you the ladder to move up on your communication skills. Okay, so don't take it lightly. The more and more you spend time on your reading, and the more and more you spend time on your writing, especially, that's going to give you great amount of knowledge. So believe in it, and do it often, and do it with passion, do it with interest, and do it with maximum care, so you learn it. Okay, see, you might make some grammatical errors while you're writing. Okay, and you might learn some grammatical perfections when you're reading. You got it? That's the power in it. I guess you folks understand, right? You can just raise your hands or something. You can understand that. But so when you're writing, you can make some errors, right? Obviously, you can make some errors on grammatical, or you might not use the right word. There might be a spelling mistake. Why to go to grammatical? There might be a spelling mistake. There might be a lot of things, right? But when on the other hand you read, when you read, what happens? So you learn about what grammar has to be used and what's the right letter, and you learn about new words. Okay, so many things you learn, right? So reading and writing, it's going to evolve you into a very perfect person. Okay, yeah. So I'm again sharing it. Yeah, and then Annapurna, can you go ahead with this?
Yes, sir. Why should we read? Because reading increases your vocabulary and your knowledge of how to correctly use new words. Reading helps you clearly articulate what you want to say. The knowledge you gain from reading also gives you lots to talk about with others. I love talking to people, especially little kids who read a lot.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Annapurna.
With the modern barrage of media and instant technological information, our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter. Reading a book, unlike skimming a web page, forces you to focus to get the most out of a story. You must fixate on the plot and complete the book. In doing this, your brain forms deep connection and practices.
Practices concentration, right? Fantastic. So, folks, we have seen talking to people improvises on your communication, right? Talk to When you talk to kids or when you talk to elders. So there is this wonderful concept. When you talk to elders and when you talk to kids, you learn a lot of things. Why? Because the reason is you learn from their experience, and from the kids, you learn what all activities they undergo. Okay, and what all things they offer as learning. Okay, so it's always very much wonderful. So you need not only especially elders and kids, you can have a strong preference there of talking to elders, because elders can teach you a lot. You will have an elder in your home, you will have an elder in your college, you will have an elder in your neighborhood. Okay, spend some time with them and talk to them, and get some inputs from them. Okay, but it should be value-added inputs. It should be constructive inputs. If you're not getting in constructive inputs, it is not going to make any use. Okay, so immediately you need not travel with that elder, is what I wanted to say. So when it makes some value, yeah, obviously you can spend time, and you can get in their inputs. Okay, and yeah. So, Annapurna, can I ask you a question? So, you were reading about the modern media, the current media which we have. So, what you understood from there?
Like we don't go through complete page, sir. When we read that, we only see the important points. But
Okay,
when we read in a book, like we read it completely, so we have to understand from starting to end.
okay. Fantastic. So, folks, see, I'll give you a wonderful uh, a tip today. Okay. See, how many of you folks are very much passionate and interested about media and social media? You can raise your hands. You can just put a message. How many of you folks are very much passionate or interested towards media and social media? Okay, okay. That's it. Only 7 people from this group are interested. No one else is. Okay. Folks, please raise your hands because there's going to be a special session on this. So those who are interested, please raise your hands. Media and social media. So see, let the hands go up. Okay, so folks, see, when it comes to media and social media, day in and day out, we spend a lot of time, right? We give a lot of our time. So this time can be also spent very much useful. You got it? Very much constructive for your thoughts. You got it? So this is going to help us a lot. There are a lot of documentations and a lot of things that you can learn from media and you can learn from social media. So you try to pick that. Okay, you try to pick that and you try to select that out of 10 different parameters. You have two parameters which is very useful. Pick those two parameters and learn from there. Okay, so that is what mainly I wanted to portray and showcase. So let's start to use this wonderful tool, social media and media, especially of how we can enhance our communication skills and especially how we can utilize the information to the best of our knowledge and how we can learn new things. Okay, so we can also use media and social media for that. Okay. Yeah, so now let me get into the presentation. Yeah, so a few of the pointers which we shall go through today on reading skills. So the first point would be fluency. So what happens in fluency? So yesterday even there was a question, right? That I need to improvise, I need to improve my pitch, right? And even if we are not that fluent enough, how we can present ourselves, things like that, right? Reading is going to improvise on your fluency. So how it does that? How it happens? It happens the more and more you read, you're going to get your inputs and you're going to get your fluency level to another level, to the next level. Okay. The next would be reasoning. So what happens in reading, when you read about a content or when you read about a wonderful article, so you also give your time, you give your brain some time to reason it out, right? Why this is mentioned in this manner and why this content is driving in this manner. So there should be some reason. You start to reason, you start to research, you start to get into some additional work. So those all are going to help you out and those all are going to give some work for your brain. Okay. And then the third would be visualize. So what it takes on visualize, folks. So shall we have some questions here? So how do we visualize and what happens there? So when you read, so can we have some comments over here from anyone? Someone apart from Annapurna? So the next 2 points were what we saw is visualize and focus improvisation. So any clue, anyone? See, you can present your views. There's absolutely no harm in it, folks. Any of you can present your views. So please unmute yourself and talk. Don't think multiple times, because when you think multiple times, you're not going to improvise on your communication. Got it? As simple. You're going to stay there. You're not going to move up. So visualize and focus improvisation. So what happens here? Can someone tell me? Yeah, please. Please go ahead. Please unmute yourself. Yeah. Can you unmute yourself? Yeah. Pranav, please go ahead. Sai Krishna.
Good morning, sir.
Fantastic. Very good morning, Sai Krishna. Wonderful to
So visualization means which
listen to
we
you.
come to the mind which is regarding to the our state of things that will be again visualized on a board or on a thinking of state. Or focusing means which want to do, which we want to become, or which we want to be in a state of mind, which will be is called focusing, sir.
Fantastic, fantastic, Sai Krishna. Super. So it was wonderful explanation, really good. And Varsha, yeah, Varsha, please go ahead. Someone else is raising that. Visualize and focus. Varsha, you can go ahead. So till the question comes up, so you visualize what you want to achieve. Okay, so the moment, and when you start to read, you can also visualize something. You can also visualize that, I would need to reach here, I need to get here with this particular content, or with this particular segment of studies. Okay, so let's say you're reading about aeronautical. Okay, you're reading about a content on aeronautical. You can visualize that I have this particular goal, I have this particular achievement to do. Okay, and you can visualize on your dreams, your aspirations, and you can do a connect. You got it? So that is so wonderful. Or a beautiful connect can even happen when you read. Okay, and the next one would be focus, improvisation. Folks, uh, get into the word carefully. Focus, improvisation. So when you read and read, you get improvised on your focus. Okay, your focus level improves. So folks, I'll ask you a question. Okay, uh, can you name me a game which improvises on focusing, which improvises on your mind focus?
Sir,
Can you name me a
chess,
game?
sir. Chess.
Chess, right? So can you name any other games which improvises on your focus? I would say,
So
yeah, I
table
would even
tennis.
say table tennis. Fantastic. So I was about to say the same game.
So carom.
Carom. See, exactly. Exactly. So these all games improvises on your focus, right? So in the same manner, reading as well enhances, it improvises to a great extent on your focus. It gives a great amount of knowledge, great amount of value addition to your focus. So how you focus and how you work on focusing into a particular subject or a particular work. Okay. So you need to improvise on your focus to get that work better done, right? So here, this particular process called reading, it's going to improvise like anything. Okay, so folks, any questions? I think a couple of hands were raised. Yeah, you can go ahead. Please go ahead with your questions. So I'll just meanwhile go ahead with the presentation. So you can put in your questions if there are any. Okay, and then learn new words. So you also get the opportunity of learning new words. Okay, so you might be knowing, or you might be aware about 10 different words, but there might be additionally 50 words, okay, or additionally 100 words, which you are not aware. Even myself, if I go through few words, in my career, always, I look at it that this is a new word. I learn a new word. So reading gives you a wonderful opportunity of learning new words. Okay. And the next one, reading speed expertise. So your speed of reading improvises. So what happens when your speed of reading improvises? You get improvised and you read fast. Folks, I can bet on every one of you, you start to read today. Okay. You get into the habit of reading. There will be a great amount of speed and great amount of efficiency which you will be evolving and evolving day by day when you read, and read and read. So you're going to get that gift as well, and then analyze the content. So this is something which we discussed in the recent point. So you start to analyze the content, and you start to work around the content, and you start to how this content can be utilized in a different manner, or what the author is trying to convey, and what this content is trying to provide the message. Okay, can we do it this way? So this particular concept is being projected in this way. Can we do it in this way? Can we do it as plan B? So that's going to give you again a lot of learning, folks. Do you agree? So that's going to give you a lot of value, right? So you're proposing something new. And then the last point, correlate with speaking skills. Okay. So what is correlate with speaking skills is actually, so you correlate with the skills, with the skill sets of how you improvise on your speaking. You got it? So you correlate with that, and you also work around how your speaking skills can be improvised, how your speaking skills can be better given. So all these blessings you get when you read a lot. Okay. When you read, folks, don't just blindly go ahead with it and do it for the sake of doing it. Okay. Do it with a passion, do it with an interest. So what happens, obviously, your speaking skills. So most of you folks were interested on public speaking, right, yesterday. So your speaking skills also gets enhanced, gets developed a lot. So correlate with it and read. Okay. Folks, any question? It's the time for questions again. So any questions from you? I think a couple of folks have raised their hands. So if there are any questions, kindly feel free to go ahead.
Sir, how to
Fantastic.
improve the speaking ability more?
By your
How to
reading,
improve the
by your reading and your writing, you can improvise whatever we are looking at today, and you can also improvise it by practice. So that's how you improvise it. You got it? That's how you improvise it. You got it? Are you satisfied with the answer?
So, what kind of books
Yes.
do we read to improve our speaking skills?
See, you can go ahead with management oriented books, or you can go ahead with your own subject. You can go ahead with, or you can go ahead with books on, let's say, motivation, or books on let's say, art of speaking. Okay. So it is not about the content. See, the content matters. Yeah, obviously the content matters, and you need to select a good book. Okay. But when it is correlated with communication, you also learn out a lot. You also get some more understanding, and you get some more inputs of how you can improvise on your communication skills. So as far as possible, keep it to correlated to communication, your books. So that should be pretty much good, from renowned authors, okay, in the industry. And you can also go for the general ones as well.
Thank you, sir.
Got it? Okay, fantastic. Any other questions from Zaiba, Lahija, Vaishnavi, Soundarya? So you folks can feel free to put on the questions, and not only these folks who have named, anyone from the group. Okay. Yeah, Yash Raj, you have a question? Yash Raj?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fantastic. Go ahead.
Sir, I heard reading novels also improve your speaking ability.
Mm-hmm.
Can it really help, sir?
Pardon, what is your question? Can you repeat it?
I heard from a friend that reading novels and other stuff also introduces to us to new words. Is that true, sir?
It introduces, yeah, absolutely. Reading novels as well introduced as we answered the previous question. It answers, it gives it gives you new words. Not a doubt. Yeah, sure. But on the other hand, you can always go with books which gives you some inputs on communication. You got it?
Yes, sir.
So day by day, you can learn some. You can learn a lot of more things. Okay, so that's what simply it will help you out. So
Actually, I
obviously,
like
the other books are
novels,
also
sir.
going to help, but this will give you expertise. This will give you practical expertise and pointers which you can make a note and which you can improvise. Actually,
Thank you, sir.
fantastic. Yeah,
Excuse me, sir.
yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Sir, I do write few stories or songs, but when I
Mhm.
run out of words, what can I do to like improve it or to continue with it?
So if you don't like a few books, I think you can go for some other options, Annapurna. Immediately, that's better because why to stick on to the same funda and struggle around. You got it. So you can move to some other options, and you can immediately go to different options. Where is your likeness? Which books? Which kind of books you like? So you can go ahead with it, and you start your journey with it. So don't be getting time and taking time on the same book wherein you don't like it. You got it. So
No,
go with other options and you can explore.
no, sir. It's when I write it, like the thoughts will just stop in the middle of nowhere, and how can I improve with that? Like,
So your writing skills, is it?
yeah, sir.
Okay, where you want to improvise on your writing skills?
Sorry, sir.
Where you want to improve? You want to improve your writing, or what
No,
is it?
sir. Like the wordings I use for it, or if I stop in middle of anywhere, like,
Got it. So Annapurna, what you need to do? You need to read a lot. Okay. So as we carried over with the session, you need to learn a lot. Okay, you need to sorry, not learn. You need to especially read a lot. So when you read a lot, when you read good content, okay, when you read nice authorized content, so automatically your knowledge, your value goes up. Okay, so then you might not get the issue in writing and issue in making the notes. You got it. So automatically you will improvise over there. You got it.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah. So I'm going ahead with the presentation again. So let's finish off this with our, yeah. Yeah. So again, yeah. So now into the writing skills we're coming into. So what all points we have? We have the first one as, can you guys see my presentation?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So the first one we have is brainstorming. Okay. So it is not only you write and you learn from your writing, you also do a brainstorm. Okay. So that is something which you folks needs to learn. Okay. So just don't merely write. Also do some brainstorming. Also do some analysis on the content. Okay, as we discussed. So you get the complete inputs of your writing. So once you complete your writing or once you finish it off, do some brainstorming over it and do some value added thoughts to it to make it more beautiful, to make it more finished, a finished product. Okay. So always before and after you write, do a small brainstorming, a small session, very small session. Okay. And then you start to write. You just see the magic which happens. You will have a wonderful, sensible output. Okay. And the next one is drafting and reviewing. So you draft what you write, right? So you merely keep on drafting, right? And you just make the notes. But when you do a sensible review or sensible analysis, and then you start to draft, it will give you a lot of value and draft with care. Okay. And then reviewing. So reviewing, folks, how many of you folks agree that reviewing what you write is very important? So folks can put on your pointers. How many of you think reviewing is important? Yeah. So see, a lot of hands going up, right? Because reviewing is very important, because you do a lot of writing and you don't review it, then there is no point in it. If the content goes for a toss, then there is no point in it. Whatever you sat down and wrote, it's not going to make sense. So reviewing makes a lot of value addition. Okay. And it's going to give yourself some inputs wherein you can change, or wherein you need to make it better when the next time you sit down and write. Okay. So it's a learning process, folks. You learn day by day. It is not that, once it doesn't come, or once you're fed up of it, don't leave it and go off. Okay. It's a learning process. Day by day by day, you learn. Minute by minute, you learn. Hour by hour, you learn. Whenever you do a reading activity or writing activity, okay, or listening activity, you learn. Okay. So it's a learning process day in and day out. So love to learn from this process, and you will become expertise, than whatever I'm able to present, or I'm able to, convey to you folks today. Okay, you will become much greater than that. Okay, so try to continuously learn, and then you also have checking for grammar and checking for words. So how many of you folks agree when you write, you need to check for grammar and you need to check for words? That is the spelling of your writing. How many of you agree? So you need to check for a grammar. And how many of you check your grammar when you write? Do you check your grammar when you write? Or do you get into the habit of what is it I'm writing? If it is grammatically 100% right, or it is not right. See, we don't get time to do that, right? We don't get time to check the words and check the grammar. Often we can miss it. But this is something which is very essential, which you need to do, which you need to put on your complete focus. So your writing becomes so wonderful, and the output comes as a great treat, a great retreat. Okay. So I'm also, I think we can complete a few points. Yeah. And then we have clear purpose of writing. So you need to have a purpose fixed for your writing. So why you're starting to write, and what is it you're getting started to write? What is the purpose? So as I told you, when you do a brainstorming, okay, before you could write, so also do a clear cut, define a purpose. Why you're going to write this, and what is this going to give me, or what is the end result? Okay, because when you know that, it's going to be very, very much sensible, right? And then schedule the agenda. Okay, just don't merely write and take the notes, but schedule an agenda of what is the output. For example, let's say you're writing for one of your class, okay, and you have the class by next week. You need to present there. Schedule your agenda accordingly, because when you merely write, you don't schedule your agenda, or you don't fix up a timeline to it. You might miss it out, right? So the very 11th hour, you come to know that, yeah, today is the class. Yeah, I need to, present this. I totally forgot. So what happens? You get panicked, and you don't get the time to think over, and a lot of confusions happen, right? And you go and present there finally, and no one understands, right? So that's what happens, because it is not that you're not prepared. It is not that you don't have the stuff. It is not that you don't have the content. It is not that you are not a talented person. You are, but you have not scheduled your work. You have not put on to yourself that, yeah, on this and this date, I have this session. I need to be prepared. I need to put a reminder, or I need to write in front of me and look at it that this session I need to rock. I need to give my best output. Okay. So in the class, I will be one of the top person that this session was wonderfully done. I need to prepare. So when you prepare a week's time, what happens? You obviously get the best output, right? You become a magical person. So that's the value of scheduling and preparing for an important agenda. Okay? So I think, folks, we have come to the last point. It's summarizing. Okay. So summarizing, how many of you think summarizing is important? Quickly, folks. Okay. That's it. Summarizing what you wrote. So summarizing is everything. When you don't know how to summarize what you wrote, then it is not going to make any value, because you need to summarize your complete content, and you need to ensure that, yeah, this content gives this content. I am strong on this content, that I have written this and I know what I've written. You got it? I know what's the agenda. I know what's the schedule. I know what it is going to result in. So write strongly and read powerfully, folks. And once again, all the best from my end to all of you. And I think we have again a question and answer session, and we can wrap up the session. So any question, folks? We are done. So any question? I want someone new from the group, because I think a lot of people raised their hands, but the questions never came out. So if anyone raised your hands, you were not able to question. You never got an opportunity. Please question. Yeah, Annapurna, go ahead. Okay. Can someone read this for me? Yeah. Can someone read this for me?
Shall I, sir?
Please go ahead. Anyone? Yeah.
The written word.
Introduce yourself.
Myself, Varsha. The
Yeah.
written word is a part of everyday life. At its most basic, writing is a way of communicating. This is one of the inalienable characteristics of writing itself. Whether you are communicating with a colleague or friend, or you are actually communicating with yourself. Though a shopping list, for instance.
Exactly.
Shall I, sir? Or I'll stop until.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Aside from the fact that writing is an inescapable part of everyday life, there are many good reasons you should make a good session of writing part of your daily routine.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just a few hundred words, you don't have to be a pro to reap the benefits of creating the written word.
Yeah, it's reap the benefits. Yeah, fantastic. So what you understood from your Varsha, especially from the second paragraph?
Sir, until and unless we need to write at least a few words or more, day-to-day life we will be getting a chance to write something.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you find time to write at least on a daily basis. So you learn a lot of things. You get in a lot of inputs. Okay. So it's going to evolve, and it's going to give you a lot of value additions. Okay. So folks, any other questions from anyone? I want the folks who have not got a chance, especially them, to come out. I think even Soundarya was asking for a question, right? I think she put a message. Soundarya, can you talk it out? Let's hear your voice.
No questions, sir.
No questions? Okay. Any other questions, folks?
Sir, I wanted to say something.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So I think even reading newspaper daily will improve our vocabulary and also our knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my point of view, sir.
Yeah, you put that point. I noticed that, Soundarya. It's a very good point. Folks, let's take some inputs from Soundarya, what she's saying. So yeah, newspapers give you a lot of inputs, and even magazines for that matter. Any content which from wherein you read news. So it gives a lot of content to you. See, how many of us today read newspapers? It's very less, right? We don't do it. Might be Soundarya is very much passionate and she wants to read. She's spending some time. Okay, so it gives a lot of knowledge. It gives a lot of value addition. It gives a lot of learning when you read a newspaper. Let it be even 2 to 3 segments you read. It gives you a lot of value because you read, you learn the new words, whatever we saw in a content. You learn about new grammar sentence. Okay, you learn about how to form a sentence, how to finish a sentence, how to write grammatically error free, because every newspaper, they check each and every word right when it gets published. So let's take a wonderful newspaper like the Hindu, or let's take the Indian Express. So what happens in these newspapers? They do a proper grammatical check, and they give the content in a very accomplished and in a very much completed manner, right? So when you read that, what happens? You get the absolute content, okay, and you especially you learn about communication skills when you're reading them. Okay, so that's what I mainly wanted to put over. Any other questions, folks?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Vaishnavi. Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
First of all, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Reading articles, can it improve our communication skills, or we need to read only motivational books or something like that?
Reading articles as well improvises, Vaishnavi. Absolutely, it improvises. There's no doubt on that. You can read articles, but when you read some good content on communication, you learn a lot. Okay. Obviously, articles help it out, and articles as well give you a lot of value addition to your skills. There's no doubt on that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Folks, any other questions? Zaiba, can you talk?
Good morning, sir.
Fantastic. Yeah. Good morning.
Sir, what if we read storybooks, sir?
You can read. You can read. There is no doubt on that. See, Zaiba, you need not, Yeah. Zaiba, can you hear me?
Am I audible, sir?
You're audible. Yeah. You can read storybooks, Zaiba. There's no doubt on that. Obviously, you can read them, not a doubt. But as whatever we discuss, books about management and books about communication, and even your newspapers, these sort of content will give you some value added and some good amount of knowledge to you, Zaiba. So that's what these content will do it for you. You can read storybooks, n number of storybooks. So no doubt on that. You can read even 10 storybooks in a month. So that's going to add value to you. That's going to give some value addition for sure to you, right? And there's no doubt on that. So you can go ahead and read. Apart from it, also find time to read some valuable contents as well, which can give you some learnings.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Any other questions, folks? Sir, which author would you recommend? See, you can, as I told you, Jonathan, you can go ahead with the recognized authors, okay, in the industry, and you can go ahead and in reading the books, okay. So you can do a research. You can see, rather than, for example, if I'm presenting to you the author names, okay, so you can go ahead and do a research on which all authors give great content and they give great amount of knowledge. So you can go and you can do a research on, let's take communicational skills. So which author gives the best amount of inputs? So which are the top 5 authors? So you can pick the books and you can read. Okay, so you will not be very choosy on the author. Yeah, standardized authors should be well and fine. You can go ahead with that. Not an issue. Any other questions? Yeah, so I would take this opportunity especially to thank each and everyone, each and every students who gave a wonderful, uh, made this session wonderful, really well. And thanks for all the engagements which we had today and yesterday. And my special thanks to Indu ma'am for creating this session. And ma'am, thanks a lot to you, ma'am, and over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Indu ma'am, you can do the finale and you can close the session.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. My pleasure. Yeah.
So please, all of you give your feedback. I have posted in the chat box. So we'll conclude this session. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Hope everyone has enjoyed the workshop.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall I end? Have you all given your feedback?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, you can.
Thank you, Anthony, sir.